Issam Abousleiman, thank you very much indeed for joining us here at Economy Middle East. You are, of course, the World Bank's Regional Director for GCC countries. May I start by asking you, what is the extent of the cooperation between the GCC and the World Bank, and how do you support the member countries, if any?
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. And look, the World Bank basically is a global institution, and its members are all countries in the world. And the GCC are members and shareholders of this institution. So this is the first relationship that we have with them. The second relationship is about partnership. These are high-income countries that are very much involved in the development agenda worldwide. And through the World Bank, they fund a lot of the low-income countries, but also they have their own institutions. So we are partner in development with them. The third one is about our support to the GCC, and our support to the GCC is mainly on the policy and reform agenda and capacity building. Our involvement in the GCC started by opening an office in Saudi Arabia back in 1975. Now we have also offices in the UAE and in Kuwait, but we also cover the other three countries from these three locations. So it's an ample relationship that goes beyond just being partners. It's like really they are shareholders, and we also provide global knowledge to them when it is needed.
Wonderful. And the conference talks about growth opportunities, in particular economic growth opportunities. Could you divulge a little bit more on green growth opportunities, which is a very trending subject matter these days?
Yeah. Well, look, it is trendy matter, but it's actually a smart economics today to go into a green growth strategy for the GCC. I mean, in my opening statements in the Abu Dhabi Sustainable Week, I coined the word the green falcon economy. And for a very important reason, that's first economics. So the green growth strategy will give actually the UAE as well as the rest of the GCC the opportunity to further diversify their economy into a growth sector, either by getting the electricity out of renewable, which is the cheapest today. I mean, today in UAE, it costs 1 cent per kilowatt. Same in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar, by getting it from renewable, versus having it 5, 6, 7, or 8 cents per kilowatt coming from oil or gas. Just by basically having the electricity coming out of renewable, they will save on the oil that can be exported, but also they will save on the investment that is needed to produce more oil for export, at least in the short and medium term. Plus, when you add to that the upstream and downstream industry and a green growth industry that is important for this transition, then you will see the diversification effect not only for their own economy, but also probably for their own export.
Great. And in an ever more challenging global economic environment, the GCC has somehow managed to stay ahead of the inflation curve. How are they managing to do this? And what are some additional key opportunities they could seize in order to continue this growth, this resilience?
Yes. Look, very important question. In a turbulent world, if you want, today we're expecting that this year growth around the world globally will be 1.7% in GDP growth. If we look at the GCC, we're expecting around 3.7% growth. Where is this coming from? If we dive further per country, we can see like in the UAE itself, they will have probably around 4.3% from the non-oil economy versus 3.7% or 3.6% from the oil economy. So we can see that the diversification that the UAE has been moving on for the last couple of decades at least is paying off, because this diversification has done is to reduce the risk of boom and bust coming from the oil prices. We can see this also happening in Bahrain. We can see it happening in Saudi Arabia, and the rest of the GCC is moving into the same direction in terms of reform to diversify their economy. Now, also they've been shielded to a certain extent, even though the inflation are above its historical rate here, because of the strong dollar and the peg to the dollar. So a lot of the import that coming from the outside has not gone up as much as in Europe and other part of the world in terms of inflation, and that has helped in the medium term. Now that the interest rate has started to go up, from the Federal Reserve, and due to the peg, we can see also that this will help on the inflation side. And given that these economies are diversified and there is a lot of liquidity within the GCC, we see a little impact on the growth. The growth will be less probably than last year. However, it will be much better than the global growth that we're expecting to be around 1.7% for the rest of the world.
Issam Abousleiman, thank you very much indeed for joining us here at Economy Middle East.
Thank you all.